right. Good morning, folks. Actually, good afternoon.
Yep.
If you're in Hawaii, it's still good morning. I guess.
But you should be up already.
Look, I have to start this off by apologizing for being so late with the live show. It's been a little tricky. But with that said, I do think it opens up the door for some people that normally can't watch us to watch us for the entirety. A couple of things we're going to do. We are going to talk about a lot of things. We are going to talk about what is going on right now in Gaza. That's going to be a big conversation. As a matter of fact, I'm going to reiterate the title of this show, and that is, "The Enemies of Israel Are the Only Ones Starving Anybody." And we're going to have that conversation. And I'm even talking about the enemies from within. We are going to talk about what is happening in the immediate moment. We're going to show you some military things that are going to be of great interest to you, coming from Major David Tal from the Israeli Defense Force. He's going to demonstrate some things with this map that we're going to put up that is going to be mind-blowing, very eye-opening. We are also, if we have the time, we are going to have a conversation about what's happening with the Temple Mount.
Hola.
We are going to talk about the woke right.
Hola,
If we have a moment about that. I have to tell you, I'm so disappointed in the level of deception that exists right now amongst the woke right, amongst the Tucker Carlsons, the Candace Owens. It's just absolutely crazy.
Okay, so I'm going to say something that connects to this, to you, and I'm going to say it like this. As a Christian, I understand what you mean. But as a Jew, you're starting to feel what we have felt down through the ages.
Oh, bro.
Do you understand what I mean? Like the people that we thought were on our sides, the people that we thought we had respect from, the people that we thought were supporting us, all of a sudden turn over like that. You're going through a very acute Jewish experience. I know how to say it.
But this one is a very, and you're right. You are right. But this is very interesting because when I look at like what's going on, for example, with Tucker Carlson, Tucker has always done a very good job of not showing his true colors. And I'm beginning to see that now.
Oh, yeah.
But now that he's gained a lot more notoriety, now that he has a little bit more in his court, he's gotten very sloppy. And in that sloppiness, he has revealed himself to be a uniquely dishonest man. Now, here's the thing that I want to point out. If you are willing to blatantly lie about your father, who you claim to love and respect and be close to, then in my opinion, there's nothing I can trust you over. That's.
But again, did he in some way invoke trust, or does he in some way invoke trust?
Well, I think that I thought that Tucker was a sincere man, which I'm still not going to claim to judge his heart. I'm not going to do that. But I thought that he was for all intents and purposes, a pretty sincere man. But when I hear you lying while you're coalescing with what might be one of the darkest human beings who calls herself a conservative, I take new issues with trust. And we'll end up talking about that because I have a very difficult time with what I'm actually seeing right now. And it's just terrible. When you lie about your father, something is very wrong.
Well,
something is very wrong, especially when you claim to be close to him.
You're actually stepping on one of the 10 Commandments.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah,
one of the core tenements of Western civilization.
Yeah.
Respecting the parents.
And Charlie Kirk interviews Tucker while he's at the SAS event, the Student Action Summit. If you remember, that's when all the controversy. And no. Tucker interviews Charlie. Charlie, I think, goes to Tucker's place and gets interviewed by Tucker.
Okay.
And Charlie didn't do any discussion about Israel. That was off limits, right? But what was being discussed was the fact that these young kids are getting ripped off and some of the problems with the buy now, pay later culture. Yep. But I think that Tucker will grasp at anybody or anything and pull them in to his world. And I'm so bothered by what I saw.
I think
I'm not talking about the Charlie interview. I'm talking about the
this
other
discussion before. Okay,
Yep.
and you try to make a or put a line between what Tucker's doing and what Kaddis
I
is
know,
doing.
and I legitimately felt that they were different.
And
now I'm beginning to think they're not even one lick different.
And what I'm trying to kind of see, and I'm trying to figure out why, I mean, what's going on. I think both of them realized at some point that the tide has gone back out on the progressive and the wokeism. And they saw themselves as conservative. Remember, Tucker was deep into that, and Tucker was at Fox, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, they're both grifters.
Kaddis was at the Daily Wire.
Yeah.
Okay, and they realized that they're going to be another right wing. They're going to be another Dave Rubin. They're going to be another, and Kaddis wanted to compete with Ben, and Tucker wanted to compete with Dave Rubin. And they say, okay, how do we stay on this side of the political fence and still make enough noise in order to get accepted? If we show support for Israel, it's not. And here's the thing, and maybe this is the theme. I'm going to be talking about this when we meet next weekend, okay? And the theme is this: support for Israel, love for Israel, trust in Israel. Everything is going to be the decisive factor of who's on what side of the political fence.
Yep.
And Israel has become the main, I'm going to say, the main scale where the balance and the counterbalance are going to be put.
Yeah, the devil has been very good at muddying the water. Very, very much so. The devil has been muddying the water in ways that I don't think we've ever seen before. And when the Bible talks about the last days being perilous, when the Bible tells us about the blatant lies and deception that will be happening in these days, I am seeing it come to life. And I'm seeing it come to life in ways that I never thought I would see it come to life. And that's the concern right now that I have, because what's taking place here is very unique. It's something that I have never seen before. At the level that I'm watching it, it's just unbelievable.
No, but I've been taking it apart, partly because people that I respect and people that I consider intelligent Christians have been asking me questions lately that have kind of shaken up my how do you say, my trust in the ability of even Bible reading, growing up in the church people to understand the nuances of what's going on between Israel and
Yeah,
and
I
Gaza.
understand why you're saying that.
I'm totally surprised. I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, you grew up in the church. You know what? I mean, you've heard the sermons. You've been there.
Yep.
And then to hear something like, well, it seems reasonable that they're committing genocide. You know, and
It's there. All of those conclusions are based on blatant lies. By the way, I want to say this because I've noticed that some of you have already given these amazingly generous super chats.
mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for it. I will go back and read those super chats. Guys like Todd and everybody else that's done it. I'm going to go back and read those at the end of the show because you all deserve to be acknowledged. And the especially those of you guys giving all of you guys giving any super chats, it means a lot to us. It means something. I want to say this about what you're mentioning, David. This is the part that's really, really bad and really scary. And that's the fact that so much of this grifting and dishonesty is happening in the so-called church.
Yep.
So these questions that people are asking are not foundationally built upon any real commitment to truth or honesty at any level. They're based on what works for my social circle or what works in my minute. And the idea that genocide is happening in Gaza may be one of the most dishonest assertions that has ever been made by anybody during any time recently. And I am one who has developed a deep-rooted love for the Arab people. My mom and my dad were both born and raised in Egypt. There's a reason why I feel a deep love for the Arab population. But I have the same deep love for the Jewish population. And here's my thing, okay? When people are lying, if you love them, you'll call them on the lies. If people are dishonest and you love them, you'll point out the dishonesty. And that's not happening right now.
Well, one of the things that you said before is that the devil is muddying the waters,
Yep.
meaning
Very
there
much
are
so.
some outright lies, but one of the things that's been going through is wait a minute, we don't know. So the idea is, I heard Piers Morgan, and again, if you want to hear a very interesting kind of dynamic on this, Konstantin Kissin and Francis, whatever, I don't remember, have a pod site called Trigonometry. They did a very interesting interview with Piers Morgan, and here's what Piers Morgan kept on doing. He says, I'm not saying it's genocide, but it looks like it.
Yeah,
I'm not saying that Israel is killing people indiscriminately, but I'm just asking the question.
Yeah.
Okay? And
Yeah.
I'm going to go to personal ones. James, I'm not saying you beat your wife, but it looks like you are.
Right.
Now you have to come and say, wait a minute, where did that come from? I mean,
Yep.
how did I even get there?
Yep.
I'm not saying you beat your wife, but you need to give me an answer and prove to me that you're not.
Yeah, I talked to a guy a while ago that my sister was there for it when it happened. He interviewed me. It was an interview during the COVID era. And when he interviewed me, I gave this demonstration that, like, let's just pretend that you were cheating on your wife.
Yeah, there you go.
And he lost his mind. How dare you say that? How dare you? I realized something at that moment. I realized he got upset like that because he himself likely was cheating on his wife and knew how to use language that insinuated things in order to drive people's mind in the wrong direction. And we're seeing this a lot. This is look, Piers Morgan. Look, the only thing Piers Morgan is interested in are the clicks. Piers Morgan is not by any stretch of the imagination Mr. Principled.
Okay, but I want to take that concept forward. And if Piers Morgan, and he is a shrewd media actor,
Oh, sir,
he
yep,
is
certainly.
reasoning and understanding that turning his back on Israel is going to bring him more clicks. That's
yeah.
what I'm worried. That's what I'm worried about as much as anything else.
That's what a lot of guys are doing.
Exactly. And what I'm seeing is like, what's his name, Mamdani in New York, the hatred of Israel and the putting down of Israel has become a media and political asset. That, I come from Israel, and Israel gets hot sometimes. And how do you understand that it's really, really hot when you get out of the bus or get out of the car or get out of the Jeep, okay, and you stand and there's a breeze and the breeze heats you up?
Yep.
That's when you really understand that it is really, really past a level where even the breeze is actually raising your temperature.
No, I would agree.
And here we're at a point where even the middle, center, rational, conservative part that should be downplaying the heat of the hatred is heating up the hatred. And maybe, again, I'm going to share a very Jewish experience with you and some of you who kind of understand this, because we suffer from this always where they bring our brethren, they bring Jews to say bad thing about Jews. And you sit here and you say, wait a minute. I mean, these are people that come from my people that have the same background as me, that have the same history as me, and they're actually coming out against me. I think we as Christians, and I'm going to say it like this, and there's going to be, maybe we need to, James, we need to invent a term for this. The pro-Israel Bible reading evangelical Christians, these are the ones that they're going to look around and see at their Christian brothers and saying, wait a minute, I read the Bible. I'm very, very clear about what's happening. How do other people who I respect, who read the Bible, don't see it in the same way and are being used by the enemy to bash against me? Because it's like they have added on value because they have the same background as I have. Or
Yeah.
Jews that are brought up because it's like their opinion. When they say terrible things about Israel, then their opinion is more important because they're Jewish.
Yep.
And when you talk about the Hebrew, I mean, Jewish studies and forefathers, okay, we just now went through Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av is the 9th day of the month of Av, where according to tradition, that's the date on the Jewish calendar where both temples were destroyed.
Yep.
And why is that important? Because again, temple destruction is a critical. It's like how do you say, a national. It's not we commemorate the day. How do you say, a mourning day?
Yeah, it's a day of mourning. It's a day of
mourning.
remembrance.
People fast on Tisha B'Av. They sit on the ground. They don't wear shoes because of the temple. But one of the things that's very deep in Jewish mind is that in both cases, the temple was destroyed because of foreign powers, because of the Romans, because of the Babylonians, but first and foremost, because of hatred between ourselves.
Yep.
We call it sinat chinam. The term would be we hate just because we hate. There's no reason for the hate. It's like the term in Hebrew would be free hatred.
Yep.
It's hatred for the sake of hatred, and we're seeing sinat chinam in the Jewish people, but we're also seeing it in the evangelical Bible reading Christians.
Yep.
And again, according to Jewish tradition, this is going to result in the burning down of everything that we hold holy and everything that we hold sanctified.
And by the way, this Tish B'Av was very notable in that Ben Gvir walked on the Temple Mount.
Yes, he did.
And actually led 3,500 people in prayer for the first time in Jewish history. We've never seen an MK or a party member or a cabinet member go up to the Temple Mount and pray like that and lead people in prayer. It's never happened before.
Okay.
But there's been a lot of notable things that have happened on that day.
There's on Tisha B'Av. Oh yeah,
my goodness.
I mean, it is how do you say, it's our in Christian culture, there's Friday the 13th kind of dynamic.
Yeah, listen, Tish B'Av 1312 BC. That was the day that the spies, that's what they say. Remember that Jewish tradition talks about this, that the spies came back with the bad report and that God judged them.
And again, the majority was wrong.
Yeah.
There were 12
100%.
spies. 10 of them were wrong.
Yep.
10 of them made a mistake. 10 of them would have been disastrous if their opinion had been accepted.
Yep.
Only the 2 were the ones that opinion was right.
Right.
And thankfully God led us down that route and not the other route. And that's the huge difference that we're talking about.
And then on Tish B'Av 586 BC, the 9th of Av, 586 BC, that's the
Babylon.
Temple of the Destruction. Nebuchadnezzar destroys the temple. Easily 500,000 men, women, and children are killed in Jerusalem.
I
on the 9th
have to
of
say
Av,
this
70 AD.
Before I forget, Nebuchadnezzar was not only a spaceship in the Matrix. Right?
That's true.
I just had to. A lot of people kind of put that down there.
Yeah. So the 9th of Av, 70 AD, Titus comes into the temple. The 9th of Av, 135 AD.
Okay.
You remember what happened there?
No.
That was the when Hadrian completely leveled the Temple Mount. And it was also on that day that 500,000 Jews were killed in the last uprising against Rome, if you remember.
Yeah, that I remember.
There's a couple of others.
There was a plague of the students of Rabbi Akiva, according to tradition,
Yes.
on the same time. So again,
Tish B'Av 1492. What happened?
And what I'm trying to stress here again and again, okay? We the Jews know that when we hate each other and fight each other, bad things happen to us. And that is something to remember. But I'm seeing, and again, we read about it, we teach about it, we learn about it in school and every conceivable aspect. I'm getting that feeling. I know that feeling as a Jew.
Yep.
I'm getting that feeling as a Christian.
Yeah. Yeah.
Slowly, I'm seeing that parts of the people that I respected, pastors, leaders, thinkers, talkers, that I thought were on my side of the biblical narrative have turned away, and the enemy is using them in order to bash against us.
Yeah,
and
100%.
that is something that we're going to see more and more of. And when we go into what's going to be happening in the next period, it's going to get worse.
Well, and look, there's a lot of dishonesty going on in that vein. A lot. I'm going to blow my nose 1 second. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm going to hold it.
Sorry, I had to do that. By the way, I do want to say this again for all of you guys doing super chats. Thank you. Keep them coming. I want to remind you we will read them later.
By the way, another change. I've got all of the chat kind of rolling up on my phone in front, so now I can actually read them because I can see them with my glasses. I couldn't see them on the big screen.
That's good.
So if you want to say something to me, you can actually roll it up on the chat right now, and that's part of that. And what I'm trying to say is this seed of dissent against God's people has been planted now, because I think in the coming weeks and months, the hatred is going to get worse.
Right.
James. The
Right.
hatred is going to get seriously worse.
Yep.
And even our supporters are going to turn against us, and I'm seeing that more and more. And I mean, just look at what happened with France, England, Canada, and others. And we can go into the details of that. When you understand how ludicrous that is, you understand that they're just doing that to spite.
Yeah. No. Listen, many of these actions are satanically inspired, and we're watching it. We're watching it again and again and again and again, and it's getting uglier and uglier and uglier by the moment. And we said this would happen. I think what shocks me is how fast it's happened. That's probably where the big surprise for me has come into play, where I'm just surprised at how fast it's all converged, and that's been a big part of the problem. Well, let's stop for a second and talk about the big discussion right now, and that's the fact that so-called people are being starved. And I'm very angry by the actions internally by people who claim to be close to Israel, and even Jews themselves, who are continuing to propagate a lie that's never going to be given credence to, and is never ever going to this delusional mindset that says if you appease these Arabs, then everything is going to be okay, is completely grafted in just non-reality.
The whole how do you say, spin with the starving child that was posted on the front page of the New York Times and on, blasted all over their media. Okay, where I mean, he showed, he was used as an example of starving children in Gaza, totally orchestrated. And while the world was demanding explanations from Israel on doing this, first thing that came out is the realization that the child is actually suffering from cystic fibrosis, which is a genetic disorder, and Israel had actually removed him from Gaza and sent him to Italy for treatment. But his deformed body was used to attack Israel and blame Israel for starvation.
But people weren't even using their brains when they looked at that picture.
And
like, you could see the picture, this baby so-called starving. Why is the mom chunky?
Oh,
and if the mom is chunky, then why is the kid right next to the mom, the brother, also healthy and plump?
Okay, so let me add on a layer to this terrible kind of ordeal, is that a week later, the video that Hamas published of the hostage in the tunnel, he is actually starving.
Yeah, you could see
and
it.
You can see a picture of him before and a picture of, and nobody said anything. The big outcry, the demonstrations, the front page. New York Times did not put it on the front page this time.
Of course they're not going to put it on
but
the front
he was
page.
really starving. So that
he looked like a Holocaust victim.
And and they film him digging a hole in the tunnel that they say they're going to bury him in. I mean, if that's not emotional, psychological, and physical torture all rolled into one, then I don't know what is. And the world is silent. So the difference between the world making all that noise about a lie and the world being silent about a truth indicates that this is much more than just an actual event that is happening. But then,
it's despicable.
But then I have people who send me a message and say, wait a minute, but how can you explain this is what it looks like?
It's not. It's the way that you explain it is you're being gaslit. The way that explain it is I don't care who this is who texts this. You're too lazy to go back and do the research and simply examine the facts in front of you as they should be examined. You would rather go and listen to something or somebody to formulate what you would consider to be your definitive perspective or the definitive facts that feed into your perspective, when in reality you haven't spent one lick of effort, time, energy to go back and to look at the real facts and find out what's really going on. You look at what looks like a terribly uncomfortable picture in the LA Times, you open your eyes to glance at it, you go, oh, I can't see it, but you don't take the time to look at the environment. You don't see what's in the picture. You're not looking at the mom that's holding her that actually has makeup on her mother-loving face. You're not looking at the elements that have been photoshopped into that photo. And then you go and you see a picture that's published of some guy indiscriminately, savage, barbaric animal who is making a Jew who has not eaten a real meal in 2 years, who is eating a little bite of bread, who is literally down to the skin, who is literally so sick that he's balancing himself on the shovel that he's trying to dig up, using in the ground while he's reciting clearly by memory what he's been forced to recite by the people taking him as his captors.
Okay, so we understand this, and then actually somebody turned to me the other day and say, but why does everybody say this is so? Why does everybody believe this is so? Why? I mean, if what you're saying is true and none of this is happening, does that mean that the BBC and the CNN and the NGOs and the United Nations are all lying and you're speaking the truth? That doesn't make sense.
And then you go to them and you say, well, you know what? The CNN, the BBC, and all these other people say that your God is a fairy tale. They say he's a myth. And they say he's not real.
So one of the things I'm stressing, and I'm stressing this not only to the people who are listening to us, but to the people who are going to be asked this question from their children and grandchildren, their nephews, their nieces, or the people in work that are saying, what, you support Israel? Then how is it that everybody's saying Israel's doing this and this and this? And you can actually say this, and this is very clear, because if you're a Christian, you know that the majority by definition is wrong. Yep. You know that the world, by definition, is a sin. You know that most of the things that most of the people believe in are wrong. We need our Bible to direct us to what is right, as opposed to what everybody says.
Right.
And this is something that we're watching happen right now. And I'm saying to myself, wait a minute. You know I'm a soldier in the IDF. You know I've spent time in Gaza. If you want to believe that Israeli soldiers, just random Israeli soldiers, okay, are killing babies in Gaza, you need to look me in the eyes and say, wait a minute. You and people like you, everything that you represent, the way you were brought up, the way you have taught, the way you've been trained, the way your army does things, you can be a baby killer. And I'm saying to myself, how did I give you the feeling that I'm that kind of person, and others like me are that kind of person? You have to be predestined. You have to have, Israelis are that kind of person, and I can accept it, because you won't believe that about anybody just as is. How did Satan plant that predestined, pre-ordered notion that the Jews are baby killers? And I'm going here with something, and I'm saying this isn't the first time we've seen this.
But this is all spiritually driven. That's the thing. It's like the IDF may be one of the most competent and effective militaries in the country. I mean, in the world. And yet, I just watched a very famous Christian commentator say that they don't have their act together, that they make all kinds of mistakes, and they're known for those mistakes, and that's why we have some of those problems. And it's like, actually, they actually hold the greatest records of the least amount of civilian casualties ever in any urban environment, and we have the facts to prove it. They are one of the most moral militaries alive, and we have the facts to prove it. But you sincerely and genuine as you are as a Christian commentator, you read or listen to all these other people that you claim to trust. You don't look into the viability of the truth that's behind the claims, and then you carry it as your own.
And again, what I'm trying to get to is this, okay? The core. At the core of this is people who have a notion that Jews are an evil element in the world.
Right.
They don't know why. They don't know what. So when a piece of information is presented to them, it already fits into that core notion. And I want to put a connection between this, okay? We're Christians. At our core, we're evil. At our core, we're sinners. We need the Bible and we need the Holy Spirit to move us away from that core value. And we get that through believing in Jesus and connecting to Jesus. But let's not forget that the core of us is an evil core.
Yep.
And I believe that what Satan is doing right now in the world is plugging into that evil core and using that face dynamic, that seed of evil, and then covering it with different colors. So if it looks like the kid is starving, but in my core I believe that Israelis could starve children, then I'm easily convinced that that is a starving child.
Yeah.
That is what Satan is using, is our core evil value. And what I'm trying to say is we need to stand up and say this goes as deep as the fact that we are sinners from the beginning.
Yeah.
This goes as that deep.
Yep. No, 100%. I am with you 100%. I want to show this to you really quickly. Because you wanted to talk about this, and this is going to speak to exactly what you're talking about. So let's go over here and let's talk about this for just 1 minute. This is kind of important. This map that we have up here. Explain what's going on here. Explain what this map is. And by the way, everybody, brace yourself.
Okay,
because this is going to be very eye-opening.
So let's start off at the beginning. The discussion in Israel right now is this. Okay, on the backdrop for what this map kind of implies and kind of puts together. First of all, the map shows you where the Gaza Strip is and what the Gaza Strip is. And one of the things I want you to stress is that you see the Gaza Strip sets on the border between Israel, Mediterranean Sea, and Egypt. That's the geography of the spot. But after 2 years of war, or I think 669 days, I think it was yesterday, we realized that Gaza and Hamas is not willing to accept defeat. It's willing for all of its people to die, either of bombs, starvation, whatever. They are not willing to accept defeat, and they will not reach an agreement that says we will give back the hostages. So the state of Israel, by the way, and I'm saying that very, very hard because that means that they are not willing to give up hostages in return for an end to this war.
Yeah, but we know that. We know that.
No, a lot of the world still believes this, and I even want to believe it because I want to believe we can get those hostages back. But here's the thing. I think Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu, again, as the top of the pyramid right now, has realized that we have no choice, but we're going to have to completely conquer Gaza, take over the Gaza Strip, not just go in, deal with an enemy, and come out. Take over the Gaza Strip, and I'm even going to say a weird way, put military, political control over the Gaza Strip.
You have to.
Until we take out all of Hamas. And everybody says, okay, but what about the hostages? And I'm saying we haven't been able to solve the hostage problem any other way. This is the only way. Gaza and Hamas has to understand that it is completely done. And here, I want to add on one more thing. A recent poll that was taken both in the Gaza Strip and the West Bank of Palestinians says that 75% of the Palestinians still support Hamas.
Yep.
Meaning, if you have an election today in the Gaza Strip, the Hamas will come to power. If you have an election in the West Bank, the Hamas will come to power, and they will use that again as a staging area. So Israel will have to take over the Gaza Strip, completely conquer the Gaza Strip, and just like the United States or the Allies did with Imperial Japan and with Nazi Germany, the Gaza Strip has to be de-fanaticized. Is that even a word? De-Hamasized.
Fundamentalized,
Yeah.
whatever.
whatever you want to call it, it has to be turned into something that the core value of the Gaza Strip isn't hatred of the Jewish people, which means we're probably, if I'm reading the map correctly, we're probably going to go back into completely conquering the Gaza Strip, and I want to go a little bit into the details of that because, again, been there, done that. Been there, done that, been there, done that again, and it looks like we're going to go there and do that again.
Yeah.
So let's start off with the Gaza Strip. You can see that the Gaza Strip is a strip of land, but it's kind of divided into, I'm going to say, for lack of a better word, three main parts. What I have in green, okay, are the divisions or the corridors, okay? Netzarim corridor between Gaza City and what we call the refugee camps in the middle. Okay, and you can see Dir el-Balach in the middle. Okay, then another corridor, a new corridor, the Morag corridor that actually separates Rafah from the rest of the Gaza Strip and has Khan Yunis. So you have Dir el-Balach and Khan Yunis in the same area, and we believe that the hostages are somewhere in there right now. We're not sure exactly where, but we believe basically in there. And it's going to be this. Israel will completely take over the Gaza Strip and actually turn the Gaza Strip into a military rule. And again, we were there under military rule after 1967, which means that military officers will be responsible for the distribution of the food, will be responsible for sewage, will be responsible for water, will be responsible to keep the peace between the different factions inside the Gaza Strip. We will be de facto the government of the Gaza Strip.
Yep.
And it looks like we will have no choice but to do that. And in that kind of position, completely scour the tunnels and the buildings until we find all of the hostages.
Yep, you have to.
Now, I know it sounds easy, but it's going to be a battle. There still are tunnels. We were talking a little while ago about why most of the buildings in Rafah, and if you look down, Rafah is the southern part of the Gaza Strip that was conquered last in the last war, and why are all the buildings in Rafah destroyed? And I heard a discussion about this, is that when the Hamas realized that they can't take Israel on the ground, what they did is they went and they booby-trapped all of the houses in Rafah. I mean, the guys coming out said every second house was booby-trapped.
It's so crazy.
Booby-trapped, meaning the whole house is actually rigged with explosives in order. Now, do you know, they're using cameras, including, by the way, the cameras in cars. The little cameras that you have at the back of your car to see if you don't run into the curb. They were plugging into those cameras in order to see when the Israeli forces were coming in. By the way, ingenious. Okay? And then they would explode the house on the Israeli soldiers. So what would happen, we would send in our sappers and they would see that and they would pre-detonate the explosions. So again, they rigged the explosives, but that means that all of the houses in Rafah were destroyed. And that's the thing. And people say, okay, Israel wants to wipe Rafah off the ground. No, that was a battlefield, and the enemy was using those houses as a military asset. And if that is the situation, they are a military target, and they can be destroyed. Oh, what about the people living in there? Israel has told those people to move many, many different times. So we're going to go back into that kind of dynamic. Israel's going to conquer all of Gaza, probably from the north southwards and from the south northwards, and completely take over Gaza, set up a military government in Gaza, and then see how the situation is going to come. That is I'm going to say, the military aspect of that. And that's going to tie into the political because we have not found an arrangement in any way, shape, or form that says who will take over control of Gaza, who will take over administration, who will take over leadership in Gaza when the Hamas is gone. And it looks like Israel's going to have to do it.
Well, I mean, listen, we knew that was going to be the case.
We kept on hoping that there would be a decision, an agreement. We kept on hoping that there would be a ceasefire agreement. Everybody was saying there was going to be a ceasefire agreement. I mean, that's what we're hoping. By the way, not everybody in Israel agrees that that's what we need to do, including, and again, 12 spies, okay? 10 were on one side, 2 were on the other side, including our chief of staff. The commander of the Israeli army.
Your chief of staff is a turnback. The guy is a turncoat. Tank commander or not, he's giving you guys a bad name. I'm sorry, David.
Yeah,
that guy is embarrassing.
Well, we were all excited when he started off, but here's part of what he's saying. And again, I don't know if I'm playing devil's advocate here, but I have to understand. I've talked to the guys. James, I mean, I talked to my former unit, the 401 Brigade. Gijon Springs, by the way, is closely connected to another tank unit, and maybe later I can show you a movie that we just got from the border with Lebanon about what they're doing. They're wiped out. The Israeli military never thought that I never in my worst dreams never thought we would fight a 2-year war. And the reservists, by the way, remember, the regular army finishes 3 years and they go into reserve units. You're supposed to be a civilian in reserve and you get called up when you need to. Some of the reservists have been doing 400 and 450 days in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Now think what that does to your family. Think what that does to this. Think what that does. These are not professional soldiers.
Yep.
This is not a soldier who this is his profession, and businesses are falling. Think about a student in the university in the middle of his university education has to go in and do 400 days out of 300 out of 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy, and the army is tired, and the chief of staff is saying, I'm not sure. And then add on the whole Orthodox issue that we're dealing with, and you get a little bit of the complexities of what's going on.
But the blood is on the hands of the chief of staff. The blood is on the hands of the dirty attorney general. The blood is on the hands of all of them. Because think about this, okay? You have the true commander-in-chief of your country, okay? The prime minister, with the backing of the cabinet, and the president for that matter, who chooses to make military decisions only for those decisions to be thoroughly undermined. Halevi did it. The current chief of staff is doing it, and they're doing it at a level that is so absolutely ridiculous that it's actually endangering the lives of Israeli soldiers, and it's endangering the lives of Israeli citizens.
No,
so the blood is on their hands.
But I do have to take this, okay? Again, I'm a soldier. Been a soldier all my life, all right? We don't always like what we have to do.
Fair enough.
Okay? And again, we are a democracy, which means that the government tells the army what to do. And even if the army and the military doesn't like it, even if they think it's hard, even if they think it's going to be a problem, it's the military's job to step up and say, okay, just tell us what to do and we'll make it happen. Okay? The fact that he's standing up and saying, oh, okay, I think you're making a mistake, is undermining the whole
100%
idea of the system. It's like he's
worthless in his job.
He's not worthless in his job. He's worthless in the interaction with the political situation. I mean, he might be.
He's on the side of Hamas.
He grew up in my tank unit. I can't say he's worthless.
I'm sorry. He in his job, it's blood on his hands. Soldiers that are fatigued that end up dying or lives being endangered because they get orders to go into one area, and then he all of a sudden says, I'm not going to do it because the attorney general told me not to. Okay? She's acting like the true commander-in-chief because those bozos let them.
Well, she's been fired.
Yeah, there's a little fight going on right now over it, and I hope that it's permanent. I do. And I love the fact that Bibi Netanyahu excused himself when the vote by the cabinet was made. I'm very glad that he did.
Before we gonna go off on another tangent, I want to finish with the map here.
Yeah, let's do that.
This map is very good to understanding. Okay, if you look closely, I marked off the Philadelphia corridor. By the way, it has nothing to do with Philadelphia,
Yeah.
either the city in the U.S., and has nothing to do with the Philadelphia in Greece. It has to do with the maps give code names to routes. And the route that runs along that border with Egypt on all of the maps when I was growing, when I was a little baby lieutenant, it was called the Philadelphia corridor. And as a result of that, even though we've changed the maps and the names over times, okay, it still received that name. So the Philadelphia corridor, if you look closely, is the border with between the Gaza Strip and Egypt. Why is that important? Let's remind everybody that Egypt has as much or more responsibility for what's happening in Gaza than Israel does.
Sure.
And if you look out on the map, Egypt could have allowed the people in Gaza out, could have allowed this.
They don't want them.
They could have allowed supplies in. I mean, if Egypt had decided that they want to open up and let all of the supplies in, I don't think Israel could have said no. Israel has a responsibility, but Egypt is as responsible for what's going on in Gaza as Israel is. Nobody blames Egypt for the open door prison. Nobody blames Egypt for the blockade. Right. Nobody blames Egypt for everything that's done. Egypt could supply food and water. Israel gets blamed. Again, the fact that we are blamed means, and others who are as, theoretically at least, as responsible or not blamed, means that there's more going on. So I want you to notice the border between the Gaza Strip and Israel and Egypt. It's called the Philadelphia corridor. Remember that. That's going to play a role in everything that we're going to be seeing in the next period.
Yeah, and again, there is no education as into what's really going on. Again, Israel's being blamed for what's happening. Why isn't the world blaming Egypt? Why isn't the world talking about Jordan? Why isn't the world talking about Syria? Why isn't the world talking about everything that's going on to the north with Turkey?
Why isn't everybody talking about the famine in Yemen? And there is a real famine in Yemen.
No one's going to talk about that.
Just Google it. Just Google it. You'll see that more people, children, are actually dying. Why isn't anybody talking about the slaughter in Sudan right now? I mean,
do you know how many Sudanese have died in Sudan in the last 5 years? You want to take a wild guess? Probably close to 2 million.
Oh.
And no one's going to talk about that. How many Armenians have been killed by the Azerbaijani? How many, look, we could just go on and on. How many Syrians were killed alone during the Syrian civil war?
Oh, I think they're talking about more than 500,000 killed.
Easily.
And something like 4 or 5 million dispersed.
Yep.
And I'm not even talking about wounded.
Yep.
And hundreds of thousands actually were killed by chemical weapons.
Yep. And easily 750,000 refugees who are Christians, Christian refugees. Let's not talk about like you said, the 5+ million that have been displaced from their homes.
So while we're doing this, what I want to say is this. When Israel decides to conquer the Gaza Strip, the world is going to flip completely. All of those who didn't flip, and if you by chance say that you support Israel, okay, everybody's going to sit on your doorstep and said, and they're really, it's going to get bad. And what I'm trying to say, James, as bad as the anti-Semitism is, as bad as the anti-Israel rhetoric is, I think it's going to get worse.
Yep.
And I think that we have a responsibility to prepare the people who are listening to us. And I just want to say thank you. And to prepare them for what's about to happen. And as much as we can give them knowledge, truth, weapons, and ammunition to fight back, because we're the last of the Mohicans, I guess.
Yeah, and here's another question that John threw out, and I think it's the right question to ask. How many Iranians murdered by the IRGC?
Ugh.
I mean, why aren't these questions being asked?
Well, we understand why. And we need you to understand why. And then our great friends, the European powers, are saying, okay, we don't want Israel to do this. And it started with Macron after he got beat up by his husband.
Yeah, I don't know, man. That whole situation is so crazy.
I mean,
he probably is a man. My guess is Macron's wife was probably born a man. That's probably true.
Ugh.
You know what I hate about that fact? It's going to make Candace Owens so notable. More people are gonna look to her as a credible source.
I can't help but make this jump. But what do the WNBA and the French government have in common?
I don't know, bro.
Their star is not what he thinks he's calling himself. I don't know if you follow the whole WNBA thing a little bit. I mean,
a little bit in the controversial side, especially with that girl that they've been looking at that's kind of been making the league the last year.
Yeah, but again,
now they're trashing her.
Now they're trashing her. But remember, who was the star of the WNBA? That player that was actually arrested in Russia.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
For the drug
that they were
Griner. What was her name?
I forgot, but they were gonna the Biden regime did everything they could to free her.
Here's the thing. The Russians don't mince. Do you know that she was in a male prison in Russia?
I know. And there's a lot of people saying that, there's a reason why.
There's videos that have come out that, I mean, it is a man.
Oh, man. What a mess.
This is the world we're living in. This is the world where the deceit has become a major part. So what I'm trying to say is the European, and again, I heard Macron say it.
Do we say Big Brit like we would say Big Mike?
I don't know. Well, no, Big French.
Oh, man, what a mess.
Le double monsieur Macron. Double monsieur.
Does that make Macron like... Never mind. I was gonna go. Brony. That's his name. Not Brittany Griner. Brony.
Brittany Griner.
Brony Griner.
And here's the thing: we were realizing that it is a man, and we're realizing that the system, the WNBA itself, was keeping that secret very close to its. I almost said its chest, but I don't want to say that. But okay.
But didn't it come out like when like you said when he or she was in Russia, and actually the Biden administration regime was under fire because they put more effort into, and they put it this exact way, getting a transvestite out of, or a trans, you know how to say transvestite, trans whatever, out of there. It's wild.
And again, this is part of the deceit that we're talking about. But let's tie it all together. Okay, Macron, Stirner, the Prime Minister of England, and others are going to recognize a Palestinian state. And when Israel decides to conquer Gaza, and it looks like it will, then that's going to be the main issue. And we're going to see a domino effect of more and more countries recognizing a Palestinian state. Maybe we should go into what it actually means to recognize a Palestinian state, because nobody really knows what that means.
Yeah, look, by all means. But I before we get off the chief of staff, shame on him. Yeah. I just want to say that. Shame on him. He's a traitor. Him and Halevi need to go and find a cottage together and go right off into the sunset. And we need to get somebody who's going to be a real man, listen to his commander-in-chief, listen to what the security cabinet is telling him, and get these soldiers out of harm's way. That's all I got to say about that. I'm fed up with that nonsense.
Well, this is going to be another event, and I hope I'm right. I mean, I pray I'm right, and you know, we're praying on a regular basis. But this is going to be another. I mean, remember what they said about attacking Iran? Oh, what's going to happen? And there is a modern day fear factor that I'm seeing. Fear has become a major issue, and I'm surprised and saddened that it's kind of, how to say, seeped into the military.
Yeah, I mean, it's a powerful tool, but the like this fear that they're talking about, it's cowards at the top, and the bottom line is they are hurting their people. Yeah. They're hurting these soldiers. They're hurting these commandos. They're hurting these tank operators. They're hurting these pilots. They're hurting everybody. Do what you're told and stop listening to the boss that you're in bed with. Stop listening to the attorney general. It's just ridiculous. You know what? This is kind of what it comes down to. If you really think about it, and I think this is well framed. I think Kaddis has spoken about it several times. It's not about going out there and standing against the mainstream thinking. People do that all the time. People come up and they say, I'll stand on this and I don't care what consequence I have. But the one thing they won't do is they won't say that when it's going against their peers or their own internal circle. And the internal circle of this chief of staff has not been the people that he needs to be submitted to. It's been other people. So he'll stand against the lies and be truthful or whatever, so long as his truth is not being incumbent upon.
Again, I can't help but make the biblical relevance. Look at all the people who stood up against Moses.
Oh, yeah. Good
Look
luck.
at them. Who said, we're not going to be able to do this, and we're not going to be able to conquer the promised land, and they're going to be too big for us, and they're going to be too scary for us, and if we try, we're all going to die. And,
Right.
And look at where we are today, and if Moses had not stood up, and if Joshua and Caleb hadn't stood up, then we would be, if they were not the ones that were listened to, we would be another. And Moses, not once and not twice, had to prod his people into
100%.
And I'm afraid that we're lacking spiritual leadership in the church today of people who are standing up and saying this is the right thing. And more churches are trying to say, okay, but I want people to come to my church. I need more people. I need young people to come to my church. And you can't tell the young people that what Israel is doing is positive. Then I'm not going to go and say it. And we have a serious lack of leadership right now.
And it's because they don't love young people enough to tell young people the truth. You know, I got a young person who comes up to me who finances his pizza. He does buy now, pay later. I'm not loving to that young person if I tell that young person, what a shame. These people make your life miserable. They make it hard for you to buy a house and you can't buy anything because of these terrible policies. No. The loving thing to do is to tell that young man, what the heck are you doing financing pizza? You can't buy it. Go work 4 jobs if you have to. Get to work, start investing, spend way less than you're making, not way more. Be disciplined, plan for your future, put things away, start a business, work hard. But they don't want to hear that.
No, they don't. So, two-state solution. How come that's still up on the ground, in the air?
The two-state delusion, you mean?
Yeah.
It's the politics. It is the Black Lives Matter of Israel. It's exactly what it is. It's the woke mindset. It's the woke mind virus.
It's the let's slice the baby in half.
100%. It's let's slice the baby in half. It's wanting to give Mahmoud Abbas something he never wanted.
But here's the thing. I mean, Macron and what's the name of the British Prime Minister? Starmer,
Yeah.
and the Canadian Prime Minister.
Oh, gosh. Don't even get me started on him.
I don't know what his name is. Okay. But they must know that a two-state solution is impossible right now.
It's not even put it in their neighborhood.
There's no line on the map that will actually create a two-state solution. There's nothing. It's not a viable entity that can actually live. Okay? And you're saying, okay, we want to give half the inheritance to somebody else, but there's no somebody else to take it. So here's the thing. It is the ultimate virtue signaling when they say, let's give the Palestinians a two-state solution. And I heard somebody from the British media actually say he doesn't really think he wants a two-state solution. He's just putting it out there to put pressure on Israel to concede to Hamas quicker than they would otherwise.
Yep. By the way, I'm very proud of my audience. Did you look at this comment? This is Apache. Apache writes, she's doing it, or he or she is doing it in English, but I mean, spelling it out, transliterated. Allahu khayr al-makarina. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good translation.
Now let's see you say that in Hebrew.
That means Allah is the chief of deceivers. It's very true. But you know what? This is what this is. Let me explain the problem with the two-state solution.
Mark Carnev, okay, Helen Goldberg, which is a very nice name to kind of put up there. I like the Goldberg name.
Oh, Mark Carney. You're talking about the Prime Minister of
Canada.
Of Canada. Yeah.
Carney?
Yeah.
Carney.
Yep. Okay. Let me tell you how what I like the two-state solution, what that looks like. Okay. I'm going to go back to a story of an assistant pastor that I had many years ago. Nobody try to guess who it is because you won't. Okay. He came to me privately many years ago. We're talking a long time ago. And he said, Pastor James, I'm called to go start a church over here. I said, great. Let's get you doing the things you need to do to go start a church. At the time, I go to another pastor who kind of like oversaw the area. You know some of this story. And I said, hey, this guy is telling me he feels called to go start a church. The pastor tells me he's not. I know God's voice, and I know somebody who's called. I know somebody who isn't called. He's not called. It's a waste of time. Don't do it. So I go back to him and I say, look, you got to do me a favor. I'm gonna put my neck out on the line. We got to give him an opportunity. He's not called. James, I'm telling you. He's not going to do it. He's not called. He'll never be successful in this area. As a matter of fact, all he'll do is hurt people. Come on, bro. We got to work this out. He says, I barely even agree with you making him your assistant pastor, but I went along with it. I don't think he's called. Look, for my sake, can we give him an opportunity? I'll tell you what. You go back to him and tell him that he needs to go to the Bible college for 2 years. Mm-hmm. We'll pay him. Not that we require people who want to be pastors to go to the Bible college. I'm just going to highlight one area that I can tell you he doesn't have, and that's patience. His willingness to sit down, be humble, and learn. So I pull him aside. I say, thank you for allowing me to do this with him. He said, if he completes 2 years of Bible college,
he has patience.
I will be proven wrong. We will help him plant a church. We'll give him whatever he needs. We'll lay hands on him. We'll do all of that stuff. Wonderful. I go to him and I say, hey, listen, we've been praying about this. We talked about this, and we will help you plant this church. Wow, praise God. But you're 2 years away at the bare minimum. Got to go to Bible college. Next day, in a tirade, in a complete tirade, he packs his office up. I remember when he did it. It was on my dad's birthday. He packs his office up, leaves, and then does everything he can to divide our church fellowship. Ugh. Tries to get people to come to, quote, his side, takes a few of my leaders who were a lot more spiritually weak than the average bear, takes a few people in the church and stumbles them. They go with him, and guess what happens? It all falls apart. Mm-hmm. Every last bit of what he did completely fell apart. No church, lots of people backslidden. One person's actually dead. Mm. I mean, you just go back and you look at it. Now, why am I associating that situation with the two-state delusion? Here's why. You want to give them something that they're not ready for.
Oh, yeah.
If they truly were capable of manning an infrastructure that could be called a separate state, they'd be doing it right now. They'd be feeding their people. They'd be taking the hundreds of millions, if not billions, close to 100 billion, by the way, since Oslo. They would take all that money and they would have already built beautiful homes. But they would be working hand in hand with Israel. They would be friends of the international community. If that was the case, Israel would be the first people to say, oh, here you go.
We'd support it 100%. But here's the thing. Me and you have shown the video where they say in their own words, again and again, they don't want a two-state solution.
That's my point. Look, my point
They don't want it. It's not that they're not ready for it only. They're not ready for it, but they don't want a two-state solution because they're going to say this very clear. If we agree to a two-state solution, we agree to a Jewish state next to an Arab-Palestinian state, and that is the taboo. That is the main core of the issue. And again, I'm going to say it again. The main issue right now is not that they want a state or independence or rights. I heard Piers Morgan say they have a right to human rights. They don't want human rights.
It's like the situation with my assistant pastor. The guy who served under me did not want a church where he was taking care of a flock. He's not a shepherd. Never really was a true shepherd. He didn't have the capability of being a senior pastor because he doesn't know what it's like to sacrifice of himself for the sake of the rest of the body. He was a selfish man who actually wanted for himself something that made him feel better so that he could have his piece of the pie. It's the same thing. These people are not desperate for another state. They're not desperate for their own anything. They are desperate for the very thing that they are fundamentalized in asserting. If you give them something they don't already have, and you tell them this must be what you want, so go ahead and take it, all it's going to do is backfire. And a great point that Michael Digman brought up. Mm-hmm. Lieutenant Commander Michael Digman. This is why he's smart, right? He said it. He says, they had a separate state. They got it in 2005. It was called Gaza. And look at what they did. They dropped their pants and they peed all over it.
I'll go even further. There is a two-state solution. The other state is Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, give me a break. The Hashemite. Come on, we already know the story of Jordan.
We've been there. We've done that. But again, this is not a logical, rational, diplomatic issue. This is a spiritual issue.
100%. And I mean, that's my whole point. My whole point is people look at the variables that seem to be the most I don't know what you want to call it, even notable. And they attract themselves to what they think people want or what they think they want, not understanding they're ruining everything in the path.
So I think it was Ben Shapiro, I think when he was at Harvard, when somebody said, free Palestine. And Ben said, oh, I got a question. Which part?
Yeah, exactly.
And the other side didn't answer, and he answered, "Oh, tell me which part of Palestine you want to free." I mean, we know that, and in the end, the other side had no choice but to concede. Oh, all of it.
But the problem is they go and they say all of it, but they don't even know what all of it is. You know what, dummy? Name 3 Palestinian cities.
Leaders.
Name 1 Palestinian leader, and his name can't be Mahmoud Abbas, which they probably wouldn't even know.
No, again, it's that dynamic, and what we're here to say again and again and again, this is part of a greater war. This is not about the politics. It's not about the people in Gaza. It is about the fact that Satan has pre-planted an idea in these people's heads, and that idea is now being watered by sewage water that is helping that idea to grow. And I'm seeing it happen as we speak.
You want to hear something hilarious that speaks of just the level of ignorance that I have seen? I saw one of these popular commentators actually say, and actually was told this too, that Bibi Netanyahu is corrupt because he turned his back on the Israeli Constitution. You understand why that's funny, everybody? It's funny because they don't use a constitution like we do. They don't have one.
We don't have a constitution.
But that's the kind of stupidity that exists amongst these people.
But I'll give you another one that how things are turning, okay? Again, I'm hearing a very famous commentator talking about the situation in Gaza, and he says this. They can do it otherwise. They can do it in a different way. And he was asked, what does that mean? He says, well, Israel's got the most amazing army in the world. Look what they did to the Hezbollah. Look at what they did to Iran. Why aren't they doing the same thing in Gaza? And here's the thing. Even our achievements, even our successes are being held against us.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so ridiculous. And to make the wild assertion that you can do with Gaza what you did with Hezbollah is completely insane. And the reason why it's completely insane is, first of all, you're not taking into account what our young IDF soldiers did in 2016 when they cleared the tunnels in southern Lebanon and kept them clear. You're not taking into account the fact that there's nobody right now representing Hezbollah that's still holding 50 hostages. You're not taking into account the Ben Gurion mentality that actually drives what they did, not only in Iran, but what they did in Lebanon. You're not taking into account the similarities or the differences that may or may not exist in the area of the Golan Heights, specifically on the side of Syria. And the one very specific thing that you're not taking into account is you're talking about a completely different region without even an organized structure. So you tell me, genius, you tell me, who am I giving pagers to? Tell me, where's the store in Gaza that they can come and buy the pagers? You moronic fools.
Where are the military sites that we could bomb like we did in Iran?
Give me a break. If we went in and we bombed the military sites, then we would bomb the literal heck out of every hospital right now in every part of Gaza. Because those are centers for those liars.
Again, it's easy for people to say, this is what should be done. This is what not should be done. And again, these are people that have no knowledge whatsoever about what is actually being done.
Not to mention the fact that look at the neighborhood Israel is in. What these clowns call the West Bank. You're talking about 90,000 Palestinian police officers under the direct leadership of a man who says that Hitler killed the Jews because they were bad people, not because they were Jews.
So
you ignorant fools.
But again, the media's on the side and the agenda's on that side. I saw something really weird come across the other day that the New York Times is reporting that 7% of the Jews in New York are supporting Mamdani. What's his name? Mamdani. Okay, and I'm saying, wait a minute. If it's 7%, I mean, that's 7 out of 100. Okay,
useful idiots, basically.
Useful idiots, but even I'm surprised that the number's so low. But why is that the main issue that the New York Times is stressing on their headline about the support of the Jews?
They refuse to take responsibility for the lies that they continue to communicate. If anybody even understood the implications behind the name Zahra Mamdani, they would never even consider it. But not to mention the fact that this guy is trying to appeal to a very poor, disenfranchised group of people when he himself was born as a multimillionaire.
But I have to say something really weird because I saw a video of him and AOC in some kind of joint thing, and like our friend Tom says, sometimes you can't put this together.
No, you can't make these things up.
When a Muslim like Mamdani and a Christian like AOC and a Jew like Bernie Sanders are on the same stage, you can't make that up.
If AOC is a Christian, then I weigh 100 pounds and I have a voice that's so quiet that nobody can hear me when I talk. Only then is AOC a Christian.
No, I don't think she's a born-again Christian, but she does come from the Christian. And again, you've got
Crazy
a
mouse.
Jew, a Christian, and a Muslim that are on the same side of the spiritual fence. And this is something that has to be indicative for all of us.
Yeah. By the way, somebody asked, why is Charlie Kirk working with Candace Owens? I don't think Charlie's worked with Candace Owens in a long time, actually. It's been quite a while since he's done anything with Candace.
Okay,
maybe a year.
But here's something that me and you, and again, we're in this media bubble that we're talking about.
Yep.
I'm seeing a rising amount of, how do you say, interactions between different elements. Charlie Kirk with others.
Yeah.
I mean, with all my problems with Pierce Morgan, he does bring different sides. There is this dynamic that what drives the media algorithm, for lack of a better word, are sometimes these controversial connections between others. I mean, look how much media traction Charlie Kirk got out of the interview with Tucker Carlson.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, Charlie Kirk gains a lot more media traction doing Charlie Kirk. So, in all fairness, if Charlie Kirk goes to a campus and starts debating kids, he gets way more views than he ever would with Tucker Carlson. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you one thing that Tucker Carlson does not have that Charlie has. Charlie has the world record on views right now on TikTok. As a matter of fact, the only person that has beat him is President Trump. Charlie Kirk is doing multi-billions of views on TikTok, more than Mr. Beast.
That's interesting.
That's a statement.
And that's good. But
and he does that without Tucker.
Well, exactly. Does he use this controversial in order to push that dynamic?
No. No, I'll tell you how. I know how Charlie works because I talk to him on a regular basis. Charlie's mind works this way. I want to allow people to be free speech absolutists like I am. Charlie wants people to be open with sharing their ideas so that they can be debated on an open forum, so that the dumber the ideas are, the more exposed they become, and the easier it is to refute it.
So I'm going to press a button here on something that me and Chris have been talking about and others. Okay, where is this free speech line? Okay, would you have somebody who calls Israel a genocide nation on your channel here?
In
the name of free speech.
You know what, man? I would love to. I would love to have someone like that, because I would literally debate the literal heck out of them. Are you kidding me?
Where does the
But
line...
I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it with some guy who has never moved a needle in his life. In other words, I would never debate somebody who doesn't have a platform. I would debate somebody who has a massive platform. So if it's some guy
Dave Smith,
oh my goodness, Dave, I would in a heartbeat have Dave Smith on my show.
Okay, would you put Kaddis on the show?
In a heartbeat, I would put Kaddis on the show.
She uses your reach in order to spread what you're saying?
No. The only condition I would put her on my show is if I had an open debate. But she wouldn't do it. She doesn't speak my language. She doesn't know our culture. She is clueless about the Middle East. The only thing she knows how to do well is sit in front of a computer and read her talking points.
Yeah.
But if I told her, no computers know anything, me and you face to face.
No, she would.
No grifting, no anything.
But
no way. But Tucker wouldn't do it. I would do it with Tucker there would be no thought into it. If Tucker was standing outside of my door right now and he said, I want to be on your show, sit right now. In a heartbeat, I would do it.
Okay, but I'm trying to lead back to where we're going. Why is Tucker making so much traction with this anti-Israel issue? Why is she making so much traction with the anti-Israel?
Because it is calculated. It is calculated by certain powers to be, and it is a propagandizing mechanism. And the propagandizers do it best when they utilize whatever weakness or vulnerability exists in the person doing the propagating.
Exactly.
A great example of this is Kaddis is a grifter. I mean, she is. So all Kaddis wants to do is gain a certain item in her agenda, but will not use the same rules she imposes on other people to be able to follow herself. She is literally a dishonest person.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? That is my perspective. That is my opinion. Okay? Now, some people might disagree with me. She would certainly disagree with me. But come sit down, have an open, honest conversation with the facts that are stipulated to by what is true and not by what your wild assertions are based on people who have ideas that are fundamentally predicated upon hateful thought processes that are not founded in what exists. That's what she'll do. So for me, I would in a heartbeat, I would put Kaddis on this show, Tucker on this show, Dave Smith on this show, that clown who couldn't be a historian to save his life, Daryl, whatever his name is. The audience can help me. I would in a heartbeat sit that wicked man down and have a conversation with him. He claims that he knows so much because he has to read 50 books on an issue before he can say anything. I would sit him down. Daryl Cooper. I would put Daryl Cooper in this office, and then I would sit him down with the real historian, like somebody who truly is a national treasure, who might be the best historian alive right now. I would call William, and I'd have William come down here. Let's sit down and let's have a conversation.
Which brings me to the question that I think is part of what we're dealing with right now, and I've heard of this. Are all opinions the same? Are all opinions equally acceptable? Are all opinions, do they all have the same platform? And here's we live in a civilization or a society where it's okay. The idea is all opinions are the same. You could believe that the earth is round. You could believe that the earth is flat. Both are opinions. And you can have your opinion and I can have my opinion. And it's okay. We just have different opinions.
Yep.
And what I want to remind everybody is that the Bible doesn't see it that way.
Yeah, you're right.
The Bible does not see all opinions as the same. And one of the things that the Bible does very clear is decide that there is a right and there is a wrong. There is a good and there is a bad. And we keep on trying to float in this, okay, everybody is the same. Everybody's allowed to have his opinion. And it's just his opinion. What's your problem with it? And I'm saying this, just like any kind of evil, any kind of sin, if we allow the evil to perpetrate even our opinion, then Satan is gaining ground.
Yeah, and that's and look again. The point is that when going back to this free speech thing, I would do it in a heartbeat, because if you put somebody up here who continues to grift and lie, and then you put somebody in front of them who actually knows so much more and can call them on their garbage, you literally expose them for the liar that they are. You know a great example of something like this that happened recently?
Okay.
What's the name of that black guy that was, he's an anti-Christian guy that Wes Huff pretty much shut down recently?
Don't remember.
He made all these claims about the original Bible text and so on and so forth, and all it took was 15 minutes on a show that because he is a true manuscript expert, a real true textual criticism. It's like he shut him down. Yeah, Billy something. Billy I forgot. Bill Carson. Billy Carson. Did you see how quickly Billy Carson got shut down? I wish I could show the clip how quick Wes Huff shut him down. Because Wes Huff knows all the facts about the arena that Billy Carson has been shooting out of his rear.
Okay, but again, I'm going to push back a little bit on this argument, because when you bring on somebody like, let's say, Candace Owen, and here's my question: are you legitimizing her right to an opinion just by having her on your channel?
No way.
That's
and I'll tell you why.
Question.
And I'll tell you why. The reason why I would not be doing that is because Candace Owens has probably 100 times audience, 100 times larger than my audience.
So if it was the other way around.
100 times. That's not true. But I have 200,000 people on YouTube that watch me. Candace Owens probably has 2 million.
Yeah.
So 10 times the amount. But if it was somebody who had 1,000 subscribers, or somebody who had 10 subscribers or something like that, I would never put them on this show, because then I would be elevating their platform. Like, I think about this all the time. When I hear the garbage that people ask me all the time, like, why don't you bring a guy like Brian Broderson on your show or Char Broderson? Why? Why would I do that? When Char or Brian make a video, 5 people watch it.
So
If I were to make a video, 50,000 people watch it. Why would I want to give 50,000 people an audience to his garbage?
So you're saying we're doing the opposite. If Candace Owen called you and say be on my show, you'd say yes.
Oh, in a heartbeat.
Okay, because you are trying to.
It's a larger audience. I would put her on my show in a heartbeat. Listen, I'm going to tell you this right now. We could go right now to the chat. We could go in our chat right now. How many people are in the chat right now? This is one of the lowest chats we've seen in a long time. 675 people in the chat.
Okay.
I would bet you that I could pick at least 70 to 80% of the people in this chat, and they would smoke Candace Owens in a debate. I wouldn't even have to do it. I could just watch.
So okay, and again, I'm bringing on some of the things that I'm been dealing with. People that, again, close to me, respect, they say, wait a minute, what's the problem? He has his opinion. You have your opinion. It's the same.
It's no.
That is what I want to stress here.
No, because Candace Owens'
all opinions are the same.
Candace Owens' opinions, which I don't think they really are her opinions. I actually think she's a grifter. She says what's going to work to her advantage. So I think she's driven by what brings her the most benefit. That's my belief. I could be wrong about that. But my thing is this. Her opinions are leading to Jew hatred that is very dangerous.
And even, I'm going to say it like this, and I'm being careful because I'm trying to figure out how my feelings are. Even entertaining, giving a platform, I think, is spreading that mentality.
Right.
And I'm going to say giving prominence to opinion that is, I think, and it's not just somebody has a different opinion. Opinions are bad. I'll give you an example. We could have an argument about flat Earth and round Earth, and you know, you have your opinion, be it as stupid as whatever, and you believe that the Earth is flat, and I believe that the Earth is round. And since neither one of us are astronauts, I mean, it's not going to impact me directly in that way that you have that opinion. But an opinion about abortion, I think, does impact.
Oh yeah, and listen, and I'm going to say this, okay? In a heartbeat, if they've got an audience bigger than mine, they're on this show. If they don't, no, I'm not going to promote them. We got guys right now, and I have disagreements with some of my friends on this. We have guys that are in the Bible prophecy world that are liars. They are liars. They've told people, they've said it. Jesus is going to come back by the 23rd of September. We've had people say, Jesus is based on the bright and morning star, a guy who's actually still relatively well known by a lot of people. Jesus is the bright and morning star, and then he gets into this weird psychopathic description that is not fundamentally predicated on the Bible. And then he tells the whole world 2 years ago that Christ is going to come on September the 19th, that the rapture will happen on that day. Okay, he lied. He was wrong. He has 1/4 of the following that I have. I would never put him on my show. I would never give anybody. There's another guy that's going around. I will never mention his name, who's bashing me right now. He has never moved a needle a day in his life, but he's going around with a small audience bashing me, which, by the way, I don't care if the audience is 5. I think that's a significant audience. Jesus changed the world with 12 people. So if you have 12 people following you, I'm not going to minimize that. I think it's amazing. I think every human life is great. But this guy's going around telling everybody, oh, James is so evil because he's this or he's that. I know what he's doing. He's trying to draw me on my show so that we can have a debate. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give him that platform.
You just now said Jesus changed the world with 12 people. And I couldn't help by being reminded that out of those 12, one turned away.
Oh, yeah.
One turned against.
Yes.
One actually was negative. We've seen that. And I think that the fact that, and somebody would come and say, oh, he was one of the disciples. I mean, why don't we take his opinion? And look where that led us.
I mean, bro, look, I'm with you on all of that. But if the person has, this is where I would condition that. If the person has a larger audience than me, all day, come on my show.
So what we're saying is we use the platform in order to advance the truth as we know it.
Amen.
And the bigger the platform, the more we advance.
Because here's my thought on this. Again, I have a guy that has I don't care if the guy has 200,000 followers. If he's less than mine, I'm not giving him the platform. If I got a guy that's got 300, 400, 500,000 followers, I'm debating him. Come on my show, let's do it. Why? Because your audience is bigger than mine. And I have a heart for that audience.
Okay, so why, though, is the audience that is anti-Israel, anti-God bigger than the
Because
audience?
it's spiritual, Habibi. Come on. We already know this. Besides, I will tell you this. Some of the people that watch the kind of stuff that we do, they've lost some, not all. I mean, not even, look, they're a small minority, but they don't have a grasp on reality.
Okay. And
so they're going to make the bigger deals out of the smaller deals. Like, I'll tell you, this is a hilarious one, right? There are people that make whole arguments over the fact that some conspiracy is happening when I blink my eyes because of my nerve disease versus when I don't blink my eyes. Oh, yeah, you look confused. It's that stupid. I've had people write me angry letters because I didn't wear a shirt that didn't have a collar on it. I'm not going to pay attention to those guys. Why would I pay attention to those guys? It's ridiculous. Those are opinions that don't matter.
Okay.
But the things that do matter, why don't we deal with them? Why don't we talk about them?
So here's a question that came up, and I need your help on this one again because I'm a little baby American. I mean, I'm not into this. Midterms are coming up. What does that mean?
Okay, so midterms
in this battle that we're talking about.
Yeah, when we talk about midterms basically are connotative of elections that in essence happen at the midway point between the main general presidential election.
Okay.
So the presidential election is every 4 years. The midterms speak of the 2-year mark, where basically some senators are up for re-election, some congressmen are up for re-election, mayors are up for re-election. So every 2 years we have these elections. One, of course, is referred to as the midterms, and then, of course, the main election or the general election is in essence the presidential election.
So what should we be preparing or dealing with in the midterms? I heard about this new resolution that's going to be passed in California. That's crazy. Is that connected to that?
Yeah, so AB 495, super, super satanic. I want you to imagine a law being written that allows anybody, for any reason, to take your children away from you, especially at a tender age. Then they can sign an affidavit, and with that signed affidavit, they can go to a school of their choice, force your children in it, take your children away, literally, effectively steal your children, and you wouldn't even be allowed to be notified about it. Your children could be stolen, and the state would support that. It's legal child exploitation.
Okay, explain how legally somebody can take my child away.
That's exactly my point. How in the world is that even legal? They want to make it legal.
They want to make it legal in California?
In California.
And how do we fight that?
We're in the process of doing that. We're asking everybody to show up on the 19th to actually fight it. Show up at the Capitol. What I would recommend everybody doing is going to our website where we have information about that. But probably the easiest and fastest way to do it is to go to Jack Hibbs's website. Okay, Real Impact. Go to Real Impact. Go there. You'll be able to find all the information you need on how to fight that.
Are there people that are going to be elected? Do we need to elect?
This is a law. This is a law that the law writers are writing.
No, I mean, besides that, I mean, our midterms are meaning governors, senators.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yes. Yep. Lots of different spots.
How do we get rid of this stupid governor?
Well, this dumb governor is going to be what we call termed out. So Gavin Newsom is done in 2026. Okay. So this midterm, by the way, is when we're going to elect the new governor. Okay. So we've got other governors that will be running. Initially, Kamala Harris announced that she would run as the governor.
I think she stepped down from that, I heard.
Yeah, that's right. I don't know what the whole story was behind her stepping down. But anyway, Dale put that by the way, Dale put that link up in the chat. It's realimpact.us, realimpact.us, and you can learn about AB 495.
So do I go to the polls on this midterm? Who am I?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. You'd go to your polling place and you would do the voting. And as we get closer, me and you will dedicate an episode to talking about the candidates that are pro-Israel, who's not, we should stay away from, all of that kind of stuff.
Well, it looks like the pro-Israel and the anti-Israel is going to be a major discerning factor.
Sure it will. Amongst many others.
Okay, so here's a hard question. If somebody is Democrat but pro-Israel, will we vote for them?
We do have some Democrats that are pro-Israel.
Yeah, that's a question. I don't know any.
What's his name? The guy that had the stroke?
I don't know.
Fetterman. Fetterman is pro-Israel.
Really?
And that guy is woof.
The big guy that wears the funny sweatshirts. No,
Yeah, funny sweatshirts and wears shorts and goes to the inauguration wearing shorts and a sweatshirt. Yeah, there's been a few of those guys.
Satan is having a good time.
Oh, I know.
Here's another one I kind of learned. Did you ever see Wicked, the movie? So I went to see it. Somebody took me a couple of months ago, and and I sat there, and it's feminist, anti-male in its sharpest form. And there's the black wicked witch and the other witch, and they're making witches into hero figures.
Sounds like a great movie.
Yeah, well,
being sarcastic.
It's an offshoot of the Wizard of Oz. But what I'm trying to say is, I don't know what her name is, but the black woman who played the evil witch that we're trying to say is not evil. I just now saw yesterday that she's going to be playing Jesus Christ in the new production of Jesus Christ Superstar.
What is wrong with these stupid people?
And I said to myself,
what's wrong with these dumb people?
Yeah.
I don't get it.
It's getting the layers are peeling off, and I'm kind of worried about what we're going to get to at the bottom of all of this.
I just don't get it. Okay, let's do this. Let's go take some questions. If you guys have questions, put question in all caps. And I'm going to have David pick out those questions. I'm not going to do them. However, I am going to read the super chats first. If there are any questions there, I will answer them. But I'm going to go out of my way to read those. I got to blow my nose. I don't know why I keep having to do this. Hold on one second.
I'm holding on.
Yeah, I know. It's terrible. Okay, let me get to these super chats. I'm going to read them. By the way, guys, thank you for your support on the super chats. They are a tremendous blessing. They help immensely.
Yes.
So let me take a look at these. Okay. Let me read all of these. We got quite a few of them, actually. Okay, we'll start with Brad. Brad's always the one who does it, and he always gives me I like have to white knuckle it every time I read his. Here we go. Trump played down concrete in the Rose Garden. Oh gosh. I can't read. I can't even read it. Next, Brad, you've lost your mind. Actually, Brad is too smart for his own dang good. I mean, he's very smart. He's a very smart man. A tsunami actually washed up many whales on the shore of Japan. Unfortunately, they were transported back to New York in time to tape The View. It's so harsh. I don't even know how he comes up with that. Brad says, please pray for my girlfriend. She's under much persecution. I told Sydney she should have expected it when she agreed to do those jeans commercials for American Eagle. Brad, are you a pastor? Come on, bro. Oh, he's lost his mind. Oh my goodness. Seriously, considering the Israel trip, I assume if the rapture happens prior to the trip date, we will postpone it until after the tribulation. Correct? That is correct. And we will talk about our Israel trip, David. We're gonna have a conversation.
Yes,
about
we
that.
do.
That's exciting.
Yes, but I mean, think about what a trip it would be. I mean, we're going to the New Jerusalem.
Yeah. I mean, come on, you can't beat that.
Connect that.
And that is, yeah, it's true. Vindog, you say, James, looking forward to see you and David. That's right, bro. We will see you on Saturday. There's a funny fact about Vindog, by the way. I should probably note this. I always kind of laugh when Vinny says it's good to see you, because for those of you that don't know, he's legally blind. But the thing that's hilarious is, as illegally blind as he is, and poor guy, he can't see much in front of him, right? He's got clearer vision than virtually anybody I know.
We're going to see him this weekend.
Santa Barbara, I think, is what
Santa
he's talking
Barbara,
about.
yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
We love you,
for those
Vinny.
of you who don't know, me and Pastor James and Pastor Tom and Pastor Brandon are going to be in Santa Barbara talking about Israel. And if you want to join us there.
Brandon Whole House is going to be there. Let's go, Brandon.
Yeah. I mean, isn't that a balagan in the making?
That's a balagan in the making. Okay, Todd H. Man, you are so generous. Wow. Thank you. You say thank you so much for bringing truth to the people. Thank you for the honor. Nadine Marshall, again, thank you for your immense generosity. You say thank you both for your hard work, and it becomes my blessings. Well, you've blessed us.
Yep.
Let me see here. Bridger Girl or Badger Girl for God. I'm late today. Thank you for all you do, praying for Israel and the peace of Jerusalem every day. Maranatha, keep fighting the good fight. We love you. By the way, I'm going to make some keep fighting the good fight apparel very soon here. It's coming your way. So thank you for reminding me of that. Nikki Presley. Nikki, you're awesome. Forever with Israel, the Jews. And then Vindog says, Rick Dees told, yeah, he would. Rick Dees would be standing for Israel. That's good. That's good.
By the way, somebody threw a question here about whether the
who gave the question and what was it?
I don't know. It was something about has the decision been made to conquer Gaza? And no, it hasn't been completely made. They are meeting. They're having another cabinet meeting, I think, in a day or two.
But they're going to do it, right? I mean, I think
it looks like I mean, I'm going to be careful because again, I keep on getting surprised. But it looks like they are going to do it, no matter what the chief of staff says.
Yeah, they're Halevi 2.0, useful idiot.
Come on, he's tank commander. I mean.
I know he is, David, but, there could be stupid tank commanders.
I talked to some of the guys on the tanks the other day, and I got a video. Maybe
me and you know majors in the IDF that are stupid.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Thank you,
oh, that's terrible. Okay, you have any more questions, bro?
How come you don't have Monkey or Don Stewart as guests anymore? Oh, wow.
Those guys are busy. I mean, that's the way it is. I haven't talked to either of those guys in a very, very, very long time. That's all I can say.
Well, thanks for reminding me. I do want to talk to Don Stewart because there's something going on. What do you know about what's going on with Monkey?
Nothing. I don't know. Is something going on with him?
I know. I'm just kind of heard so quiet.
No, I haven't heard anything. Hasn't been any conversation. Nothing.
But I would love to. I'm going to start putting interviews on my channel, and one of the people I do want to talk to is Don Stewart.
Yeah, I'm sure Don will do it.
Yep. Any more questions?
Anyone else? All right. Let's wrap it up. Gonna pray for us, David?
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
And I just want to stress something. If Israel does go in, and it looks like we are, then pray for what's going to happen in Gaza. Pray for the soldiers that are going to have to do this, for the leaders that are going to have to make the decisions, and pray for the Palestinians who are going to have to suffer God's wrath. I think to a certain extent. Avinu shebashamayim yitkadosh shimcha. May your will be done with us here today as it is done in heaven. And I just want to thank you for this platform. Thank you for these people. Thank you for everybody that's been listening to us. And I pray that your words were radiated from us today and will be amplified by the people who've been watching and listening to us in order to push your plan forward. We pray for our brothers and sisters in the church who are stepping away and fading away and drowning in the muddy water right now. Help us find a way to reach in and pull them out before it's too late.
Yeah.
I pray for my people in Israel who are going through this terrible ordeal. We know the reason why, but it still is very, very hard sometimes. And just hold them up. And I pray for our children and our soldiers and our leaders that we be with them as we go through this terrible ordeal. And pray for this week and everybody. Just thank you for this wonderful opportunity. And thank you for your son, Jesus. In his name we pray.
Amen. Amen and amen. We love you guys. God bless you. Don't forget, not this November, but November of 2026, we are doing an Israel trip. It's going to be a great one, by the way. A great one. Many prophecy conferences at each site. We're going to go see things that no other group gets to see. We got lots of awesome things coming.
Big balagan.
Big balagan.
Okay.
Big balagan. And this will be a trip that will be slightly more expensive than the average trip that you might go on because we're going to give you the best of everything. And there is a way, we'll talk about this later when the time comes in a few months, that you will be able to get a discount on this trip.
Amen.
I'm going to talk to you about that. And not a lot of people will do it, but some of you will. I will tell you this right now. The size of this trip, we're probably going to limit to the amount of people we could fit in a single plane. So that is going to be a relatively small group. We are talking about probably 300 people.
Ooh.
Okay? We're going to limit it to that. So when we announce it, sign up. I think we'll have a lot more people who will not be able to go because they signed up too late.
This is going to be amazing.
It's going to be a great trip. Okay? Love you guys. God bless you. And as, of course, I always say, and I mean it, keep fighting the good fight. Shalom.
Shana haba.
We love you guys.
Lehitraot.
Amen and amen.